My name is Khadra Abdallah, and tonight our featuring program is with Kajoog, non-profit organization that exists here in Minnesota. Matter of fact, it is the largest Somali youth-led organization.
Back in March 7th, 2007, a group of us got together, about like 13, 12 of us, and around that time, you know, each and every one of us had a lot of positive influences. And around us, you know, in the community, there were a lot of negative things going on. There's shootings, there's gang violence, and there was a lot of negative things going on, such as, you know, kids dropping out from schools and stuff. So most of us got together, about 12 of us, and we started brainstorming what are certain ways we can help our community as to what's going on right now. And we brainstormed a few things, and we said, you know, because of the lack of self-expression, and a lot of the youth express themselves through these negative means. And we talked a little bit about the arts, and that's what got this organization originally going. And we came up with the name Kajoog. And the name Kajoog obviously means Kajoog, and no Kajoog, stop, stay away from.
The mission of the organization is to promote higher education, attaining higher education through the means of arts, poetry, spoken word, plays, and visual arts.
The FBI Community Leadership Award. I'll get into that in a minute, but I wanted to ask you the 9 award.
We've decided to change the narrative. We want to take control of the Somali narrative. So one of the things why we got this is because of our ability to open the door to as many people as possible, non-Somalis and all Somalis, you know. And the beauty of it is, you know, we were stuck in a bubble called Somali, you know, and living in America. So, you know, and the Americans are wondering why we're in a box, you know, and we are afraid to get out of that box. And so we've decided to get out of that box and wander around and figure out, you know. So that's one of the reasons why our work, our effort in the community is the reason why we're able to get this award.
Minneapolis, especially City Councilman Gary Sheff, who nominated the organization for the Youth Leadership of the Year in Minneapolis, and we received that award in January of this year. And the reason for that is because of our tremendous engagement in Minneapolis, especially the engagement that we've done with the DAB. In a camp full of 500,000, this camp was specifically made for 70,000, which means it reached its capacity. There was a lot of people that were struggling over there. You see kids with no shoes. You see, you know, mothers. You know, you can see the struggle in their eyes. They've been walking for days. You see people in lines waiting for something to drink for days and days. A lot of people over there were really suffering, and it reminded me of 1991 when I was there. Some of the images when I was younger. It really personally, it changed my life hearing those type of stories. And bringing it back here to Minneapolis and showing it to people, because at the end of the day, one thing that I've noticed from that trip is no matter where I came from, you know, I can never forget my people. I can't forget my people no matter where I am, and they need us at the end of the day. And this trip not only reinforced that, but it also reinforced the youth that they also can go back and do something positive about the situation back home.
Now, I know that you have a program called Funka. Tell us briefly what the Funka is, and I also want to know the collaborations that you did with the Cedars.
Funka is a project that was funded by the Minnesota State Arts Board. And Funka, obviously in English, it means the arts. And one of the reasons why we came up with a Funka project is to revive the traditional Somali culture when it comes to our oral traditions, when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to poetry, and when it comes to music, by basically hiring teaching artists to come in and teach the public, the community, and overall the youth, and the outside mainstream community about who we are and where we come from, and our stories.
Is the English language a disadvantage to us at this point, in terms of the arts and poetry?
I don't personally think it is a disadvantage to us. I think it's an advantage to us, because, you know, as far as education, and especially being out here in the West, it'll take us a lot further. And you know, when it comes to specifically the Somali language, the written language, I think a lot of our older folks, and this is that gap that we were talking about again, a lot of our older folks have to step up and teach the youth about, you know, where they come from and who they were back home, you know, as far as kings and queens, and, you know, what their language was like and the culture was like, and, you know, the livestock over there, and how, you know, music was there then. And, you know, the national Somali artists that, you know, that are all over, like people like Sada Ali and Maryam Mursal and Hibadura, and tell them about, you know, where our, you know, people come from as artists.
The people that we deal with are mostly youth. All of them are youth, and most of them have not, you know, have not gone to Somalia. More and more are, you know, being born in the United States. So with the FANCA program, it gives us a chance to get the elders to come in and teach some of the oral traditions of art in Somali. So that is an important component of the FANCA program. Another important component of the program is also teaching the non-Somalis about Somalis, because the image of Somalis, you know, where we live today is, you know, is being over. It really does not look very good because of the media out there. Mm-hmm. So it gives us a chance to sort of let the non-Somalis sort of know about Somalis through the means of art.
And now the latest one. How does an organization get nominated? How did Kajoog got into that list, and what comes with this title now?
The FBI division here in Minneapolis, each year they nominate a person or an entity for what they call the FBI Director's Community Leadership Award. It happens, you know, once a year, and the FBI division here in Minneapolis actually covers not only Minnesota but the surrounding states. So we were able to, they nominated the organization Kajoog for this award. It's a national award. And it is, we're very humbled by them nominating us, and the reason behind that is because of, again, the engagement that we've done.
As Kajoog, art is the most important thing, so inshallah our plans is to have the first ever Somali Performing Arts Center in Minnesota. So hopefully we'd like to tell our viewers to patiently wait for that day when we all celebrate together.
I've been involved in the invisible arts, as you know, Friday philosophy. So I want to close the program with how important the arts is to us. If you can give us one of your favorite poems.
Invisible Arts is a really thriving program that's for writers and non-writers in the community. As youth, college students, you've seen there's all different types of ages that come there. And one of the reasons why it exists is to create an intimate space for writers and non-writers to come together and to talk about issues that pertain to them, whether it's changing the world, whether it's, you know, politics, whether it's education, whether it's health, whether it's, you know, youth issues, all those things. And I think art is a really amazing way to kind of, you know, get out of your daily life and have some fun for a little bit and express yourself, you know, through music, storytelling, poetry, any art elements like sculpture and theater. I think those things really helped, you know, impact lives. We move each other and we tell each other stories. I think that's what's important. You want me to share one of my pieces?
Yeah, I'll give you something, you give me something.
Okay.
All right. So I know one of your favorite poems is Somali Banha by Hessi Yamma. Inkastoo sabolahay sacbada ma hirigsado saaxiibnima nahay cadawayga lama simo Somali Banha. I want to hear one of your favorite ones.
All right, one of my favorite ones. Well, there's one that I recently wrote that I really want to share, which I think is the most relevant one that I did a collaboration with this young, really good man named Abdul, and this poem specifically for Somali youth issues and everything else. We live, we breathe with our wings open, running fast, get caught, running fast, get caught with our limbs open, caught in the sense of our dreams being broken. The youth has no choice but to sell their dreams for a token. Scars don't heal, politics keep it open. Old age unnoticed, the youth unfocused. Al-Shabaab trying to tell you will bring change, but only if you hold this. But I'm holding peace in one hand and freedom on the other. And besides, what's the difference between galvanizing the bleak and sanitizing the heat, between utilizing the weak and institutionalizing the free? It's between not being able to see and what is a door of opportunity if you've swallowed your own key. And only to stay sane, you have to confide in truth, because truth is woven in the fabrics of the women and the youth.
عشق سيدي سبا سالكامل وديغاي